Apparently, I've been up to nothing, like nothing.
The show has some degree of drama and intensity, and for most of the season,
Pot of beans.
why wouldn't they tell us all forms of funny stories like snakes swallowed money and rats became an army of giants and invaded Azeroth?
Anyway, enough said. I want to hear your own experience.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Pot of Beans podcast. My name is Afro Wendy, and I'm excited to have you here today.
Hello there, welcome to another wonderful episode of the Pot of Beans podcast. I am really happy that you are able to join me today on this very episode. So we have somebody today who is, I don't even know. Let me see the best way to describe this person. This person is super intelligent. She was like my first manager. She was my first manager. Yeah, when I started working, that time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this person is, when you say really spiritual, right? Like calm, collected, the words fail me, right? But this person is super amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think we need drum rolls for this. Drum rolls, please. Nkem, you're welcome to the Pot of Beans podcast.
Thank you. I'm super glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is all mine, honestly. Like when you agreed to do this, I was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, and you agreeing to do this, I must say it's a privilege. I do not take it lightly. I do not take it for granted. I feel really honored that you actually agreed to do this. And it means a lot because I know that these kinds of topics, are really personal. But for you to choose to do this, it shows a lot of courage and a lot of care. And, it's a way of you giving back to somebody. And I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, Nkem. Thank you. Oh, I don't know how I can express my excitement, but thank you so much. Okay, so before I just talk and go, I would really like you to just introduce yourself. I know I did a little bit of introduction, but that did not do justice to your personality. So let them hear you. Let them hear you flow. Okay, so can you please tell us who you are? Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Hi guys. Hi everyone. Once again, thank you Chime for having me. So I am Nkem. I am obviously female. I'm currently in Lagos. I'm sure this comes here as a shock. And I'm working in Lagos. I work with an e-taxi company here in Lagos as an operations administrator. So basically it's about me. I think others will just be a whole lot. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, you've not really told us about your personality. Like, what do you enjoy
so my
doing?
Personality type. Okay, so I like to describe myself as an animated introvert. So what do I mean? Very introverted person, but then I could be very animated in my introvertedness. Some people think I'm an extrovert, but then when they come close, they're like, okay, she's not an extrovert. So instead of saying I'm an introverted extrovert or extroverted introvert, how do they say it? I like to say I'm an animated introvert because I could be very dramatic. So when people that know me for being quiet see me being dramatic, they be like, is that Nkem? And when people see me being dramatic, people that know me for being dramatic see me being introverted, they be like, okay, is that Nkem? So like that's why I like to describe myself as an animated introvert. Then introversion is like the core of my nature. Sometime last year, towards the end of last year, I think I began to become a very reclusive person. I'm praying to God to help me come out of it, which is not a good thing. I love to read. I love to write. I've not written for a while, but I love to write. I love to be by myself. I love to think by myself. Yes, I keep myself company, which is a bad thing, but I can't help it. Some people say it's a very terrible behavior. Yeah, so that's it. That's my kind of person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we start, let me just say that this is a very wonderful intro that you just did. Like, it just gave people a wholesome idea of who you are and what you do. And it's like, oh, okay. we already know how we are going to flow with this person. So yeah, it's just wholesome. So thank you so much. It's a beautiful introduction. So I've told you why we are here, and I'll just give you the room to really just tell us your experience, how it is. Like, you can start from any point, right? And the aim of doing this is to help somebody out there, just a form of, because stories bring people together, shared experiences bring people together. Knowing that, okay,
Right.
this is not a novel thing, right? That this is not new. Somebody has gone through it and they are still here. So definitely I'll pull through. So that is the reason why sharing this is important. So Nkem, I will give you the floor now to just, help us narrate your experience. You can start from any point, like I said.
Okay, so let's get at it already. I like to start from the very beginning, which is what I'm going to do. So, after my service year in 2017, I got right into a job. Like 2 weeks after my service year, I got a job, and I got a job with Chinwe, which is where you worked when you worked for the very first time. I got a job with, and it was seamless. I didn't experience all the. I got out of school last year for over a year. I've not seen a job, I've not gotten a job or anything. But for me, it was just seamless. So I got into the position as a customer care representative, stroke content creator. But after a while, they made me the manager, and that was where I stayed from 2018, 3rd of January 2018 to be precise, up till September 28th, 2019. I like to count it as 2 years, but it's just a year and 9 months. But if you ask me, I say a year and I say 2 years. All right, so I left in 2019. I had some issues. Chinwe, I'm sure if I narrate it, you remember, but I just had some issues,
Yeah.
which is a very long story. So I just have to leave. So I like to see my living as God. Okay, Chinwe has already said I'm a very spiritual person, so you guys might hear a lot of God in my story. So I like to see my living as God pushing me out of my comfort zone. And it wasn't funny. At that point, I sunk into depression. I didn't know what it was like. I was busy giving tips on how to overcome depression and all of that until it happened to me, and I didn't know that okay, this is what it could be like. For the first time in my mind, suicide flashed before my eyes. But I just took it off immediately because I couldn't bear to think that I'm thinking about suicide. But yes, that was what happened. So this happened in Owerri from September 28th when I left. Yeah, when I left Uru. So it happened in Owerri, and I decided to go to Lagos. I'd always wanted to go to Lagos, so I think this was like the push that really made me decide that okay, you have to leave Owerri and go to Lagos. Because after resigning from, I didn't see any other thing I could do in Owerri. I didn't want to work in a bank. I didn't want to work in a school, or I didn't want to work in the secretariat. So like I needed something more than what I was doing in Owerri. So I decided to go to Lagos. But as God would have it, before leaving for Lagos, I got an offer. So the offer was negotiated over the phone, like over the internet. So there was no signed agreement. Okay, I got two offers actually. I got one in Lagos and I got one in Abuja. But I was very sure of the one in Lagos and very happy about it. So I told the offer in Abuja to hold on, that I had already gotten a job in Lagos. Meanwhile, no agreement had been signed. So I carried my bags and I went to Lagos on the 13th of January to be precise, 2020, and with the hopes that, I have a job. On getting to Lagos, I told these guys, okay, what's up? When do I start? You guys asked me to come, that you guys said we are going to start on the 13th. Okay, I'm here one day late. What's up? Where do we start from? And they're like, okay, you know what? You're going to have to wait. We are drawing up a budget. We are trying to set up the email and everything. So that was how I waited January, February, and nothing was happening. So let's take it back. I was jobless from, let's leave out September 20 because that was already the end of the month. So let's count from October. So I got out of my job in September, and from October, November, December, January, February, towards that period, I had no job. And it was frustrating because I had hopes that I was going to get something. secondary reason why I came to Lagos, because the primary reason because I wanted to shift location, and then I came to Lagos because I got a job. But on coming to Lagos, the guy started, turning me around, and it was a very, very, very terrible period for me. Before now, like I said, I got a job quickly, and I I didn't have issues. Money, my salary wasn't big, it wasn't much, but I didn't have much to do with it. So I was comfortable. Comfortable. After Uru, I was a leader in my church, and I led a few people. And when I told them to do things and they gave me excuses like, I don't have money, I didn't have money for transport to come, I didn't have money to send a text, I start to shout like, are you okay? What kind of excuse is that? Do you mean you didn't have money to charge your phone? Do you mean you didn't have ordinary 100 naira to come to church? Do you mean you didn't have ordinary 5 naira to send somebody a text? But for the first time in my life, when I became jobless, I experienced dryness. I experienced being broke. And it made me more humane. I thought I used to be a very kind person. That experience made me know that in Nkem, you were nowhere close to being kind, because people would narrate their experiences like, okay, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm unable to do this. And because I've never been in their shoes, I didn't know that there could be something like that. I'm like, that's an excuse you're giving, you shouldn't do that. But I didn't know that people were actually passing through a rough time until I entered my own rough time. And for the first in my life, I did not have 100 naira to go home. So this day, I came to church before I came to Lagos. I came to church and we were having a church program. I said, okay, let me just stay I didn't want to go home because I didn't have money. So I stayed back. I stayed in church after the main church service and waited for the evening service. And after the evening service, I was like, okay, I thought I was going to see people I'll go home with, maybe someone going towards my area and join the person. But as it stands now, nobody. I started looking for how I was going to go home. I had 1,000 naira in my account at that moment, but the ATMs were not paying, so I was stranded. At that point, I started considering everybody that I had shouted on for giving an X credit or transportation or this. And like for the first time, I was like really broke to my teeth, and it made me understand what people went through when they gave excuses like they didn't have money to do this. This is not me making an excuse for mediocrity or laziness, but there are some times in people's lives that things are really, really tough. And at that point, something happened. Okay, before now, I used to get angry at people for when they give me excuses like, I don't have this, I couldn't afford this, I couldn't to get a job done. So my uncle referred me to a bank manager and told me to go for an interview, that I should fill an application. So I told the lady that I didn't have data at that point. What I told her was I didn't have data at that point, and my battery was very low. There was no light in the house, and I was on my way to Oka. I was going to Oka to do a job that was going to give me at least 5,000. I was sure of at least 3,000 naira or 5,000 naira. So I was going to Oka to do the job, and this lady contacted me, and I told her, I'm so sorry, I'm on my way to Oka at the moment, and my battery is super low. I'm on transit, and I cannot send the documents you want me to send. I really want to send the documents, but I can't. I had to even beg the conductor to even give me, the bus driver to give me his charger so I could plug my phone. But you know how these car chargers can be, they don't charge fast. So the lady now went back to my uncle and was like that I'm not a serious person. That can my uncle imagine that I gave an excuse that I didn't have airtime and my battery was low, I didn't have credit, I didn't have data. And at that point it got to me, because this was exactly what I was doing to people. When they say I don't have money, I couldn't afford this, I couldn't afford that, and I go back and how can you say this, how can you say? So because you're not in that person's shoe, you don't know what the person is passing through. So that period made me develop a great sense of empathy to a lot of people and to a lot of things that were going on around. It made me just become a kinder person. All right, so fast forward to when I now came to Lagos. The company was now saying come today, come tomorrow, and that was how I was jobless from January, February. So when I now saw that they were not forthcoming, I started looking for a job. I started applying. It was one of the most tedious things I did in 2020. I did not know it could be that way. it was, I was writing different cover letters to suit different opportunities that I had seen. It was a terrible period for me. I cried, I prayed, I talked to people. I don't know, like it was just if that was like, I can't explain. Okay, so I came to Lagos and I was in my cousin's house. They were feeding me. I couldn't bring money for anything. I was just there. They'll come back and ask me, so what do you want to do? Now you're not getting any job. Now these people are behaving, are being inconsistent. What are you going to do? Do you want to probably start learning something? Then one auntie came and said, just go and look for one primary school and register and start teaching them. I was like, has it come to this? I go and register in the primary school and start teaching. It's not my calling. It was a very, remembering that period, remembering how much I cried. Like I think I expanded my tear bank. I wasn't a very emotional person until last year. So last year made me very. I could kill a cockroach and I start crying. I start crying because I killed a cockroach. I could be watching a movie. The movie is funny. I'm laughing and then I start crying. That was how terrible early last year for me was. I could just be on my own. I remember something and I start crying. Like it was a very depressing moment for me, being jobless. Then coupled with the fact that before I came to Lagos, I don't know the salon I went to, I had lice in my hair. My knees were giving me issues. They said it was arthritis. And then at that point as well, I found out that I developed a lump in my breast. And then I was having boils back to back, like on my eye. They said it was change of environment. So I'm like, okay, all these things happening to one person. Am I the female Job, like Job breast or something? What's happening? What's going on? Like, why is everything happening at the same time? Like, why can't you space out yourself? Till now, I have the scars from the boil on my eyes. Like when I look at my eyes, I see that everything is not very, because I had like for 2 months, I was just having boils back to back. The lice, I dealt with it. My knees still give me issues, but yeah, that one is fine. And I'm yet to take out the lump in my breast. So that period was very tough for me. I cried, I prayed. But one thing that God did for me during that period was reinforcing his love for me, making me actually know that he loved me, even though that nothing was going for me, even though I was sick. That was the period that I felt really loved. Like I think about God and he reminds me of all the things he has done for me, and I literally have butterflies in my tummy. I don't know how it happened at that period. Something else happened that before then shook my faith. When I was jobless and I was going to church, because I already had nice clothes before I lost my job, so I was still wearing the nice clothes. So everybody thought I was okay. Everybody thought everything is okay with Nkem. So nobody cared to ask, Nkem, have you eaten? Do you have money? Are you okay? When last did you make your hair? Nobody bothered to ask. And the pastor will still be asking for tithes. So I was hurt. I'm like, okay, these people don't even care. Yet I pay my tithes to this church. I pay my everything to this church, and yet nobody even cared to ask how I was doing. And I was actually sinking during that period, and nobody in the church came to my rescue. And that I kind of stepped back. I'm like, wait, this thing that we're even doing, what is itself? Like, what are we even doing? I stopped paying my tithes. I stopped giving offerings. I was just going to church. I would listen to the message and I'd come back. So, that period like made me have a little distrust in the body of Christ. I was like, okay, where is the love? Where is the care? So at a point, I had to like have a conversation with myself and God asked me, were you giving to me, that's God himself, or were you giving to the church? Because if you were giving to me, then all these things won't matter. It's not going to shake your faith or shake your stance on why you were even giving in the first place. So yeah, I resumed giving, my paying my tithe and offering and every other thing. I'm not so convinced. Like I still have some shaky beliefs about paying of all of that to the church after that thing happened, but I'm still yet to come to that point where I am convinced about why I'm doing the things I do in the house of God. Because after that point that thing happened to me, some things were no more correct. You get? Because another thing, I heard some preaching. This is not a spiritual teaching or anything, but I'm just trying to narrate all the experiences I had that brought me to this point I'm in right now. So during that point, also while I was in Weary, the, I had some preachings. Okay, so when you do this for God, when you serve, when you give, when you pay your tithe, when you do this, God elevates you and keeps you somewhere, and He protects you, and all of that and all of that. So I did all of that. Like I was the truth was that I gave my laptop. I gave the only gold earring I had. I gave it an expensive wristwatch I got as a birthday present. I was giving, I was doing everything I could so that I could just, gain favor with God. So when that stuff started happening, I started reminding God, but God, I gave my laptop. Now I'm in need of a laptop. I don't have a laptop to work with. I'm jobless. At least I could have been writing on my laptop. So provide a laptop for me now. I thought they said when somebody gives, you give back, you honor the person. Okay, I did this in church. I said it throughout last year. I was so fervent in my service. Why am I sick? Why is everything happening to me at the same time? What did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? I was asking all these questions because they said this person just came to church. This person dropped 3,000 naira. Next thing they gave the person an appointment. And I'm like, okay, but God, I even did more than this person. So why is my situation different? I was asking all these questions and it wasn't funny. And it was one of the things that shook my faith, apart from the fact that I didn't get love from the church that I was expecting to show me love. But then I started, these things made me ask a lot of questions. And I started talking to, Bible believing people. I started researching on my own. And I got to find out that when pastors preach in a certain way that, okay, you have to do this for God to be able to do this, it makes you do things that you will never be able to meet up to any standard. Like it makes you try to struggle, it makes you compete with people so that you be on a high standing with God. But it was never like that. So I came to understand that everything I did, I don't even still deserve any favor or anything from God, and it was all by the mercies of God, because the things that happened to me in the coming months just made me know that, see, you're getting this thing not because you did what you did for God, but because God is merciful and He just loves you. So everything that happened to me last year made me step back and question the teachings I had been receiving. It made me really question, okay, but I thought they said when you do this, you do that. It just made me realize that, see, you cannot do enough. If you actually want to do enough, go and die on the cross of Calvary and save humanity, which of course you cannot do. So the best you can do is just believe that, okay, everything is going to work out fine in the end, and in the end, I'm going to be all right. So after I didn't get the job I came to Lagos for, I started looking for other jobs, and luckily for me, I got a job with a solar energy company, and the pay wasn't very different from what I was earning in my last job. So I wasn't very excited about the job. But then I was doing it to the best of my ability. I did my best. So sometime down the line, around July, my cousin called me and said that there was an opening somewhere and I should apply. And luckily, or funny enough, it was the same place like I had worked when I was in Owerri. So like I had experience with Uru was an e-taxi company for those that will listen to this podcast. So Uru was an e-taxi company, and the job opening that came up was also similar. So I submitted my application, and they said they were going to call me. I submitted my application in July, and I just forgot about it because I read that their location was at Mushin. So in October, somebody called me and said, "Hi, my name is so and so. You're scheduled for an interview." I'm like, "Interview? How? I didn't submit my application." And I remember that, I submitted my application some time ago in so yeah, and okay, they just called me. So I did the interview. I just did it. Okay, let's just be that I did the interview. And then they said I got the job. The pay, looking good, 2 times more than what I was earning in my former company. To God be the glory. But something shocked me. Something happened. 2 weeks into this new job, I got a call from the people that wanted me to come to Lagos at first. And they said, "Oh, Kemchika, the job is ready for you. Now come and work with us." I'm like, okay. The last people was in February. And then 9 months down the line, or 7 months down the line, you call me out of the blue telling me that my job is ready. I've moved on. I'm sorry. You're like, okay, we are so sorry about that. But then we still want you on the job. I'm like, okay. if you want me on the job, then it will have to be, at my own schedule and my terms and on my terms. So I told them I wanted to be working 3 hours every day, and then we discussed the salary. But the funny thing was that when I started working for those people, they had issues. They were not structured. They had issues with paying salary. Since I started working in October. I received salary once, and that salary wasn't complete. I now stepped back and I was thinking, okay. I was beating myself up because I did not get this job earlier last year. That's January last year. I questioned if God loved me at all. I sunk into depression because of this job, because when they stopped calling me, I started crying, I started panicking, I started asking if God loved me at all. And then coupled with the fact that they made me start job hunting, which was a tedious process. So it was terribly annoying. It was terribly. So I looked back, I was like, God, is this what you saved me from? Like, I did not know that, like, they don't have a firm means of communication. They're just scattered. They're just all over the place. It's like they don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, okay, I did not see this. Probably if I remember the fact that I didn't get booked and how things played out, I'm still stunned. So on this call right now, I know that somebody might be wondering, okay, why are things happening? I just want you to look on the brighter side. There's a scripture that says the plans God has for us are of good and not of evil, to bring us an expected end. But then we don't see that expected end until we reach that end. So I was actually thanking God and telling somebody, I almost stopped believing in God because of what happened during the period I was jobless. But I didn't know that God had a plan greater for me, which was the second job that I got. I know that it's not all that I want it to be. I mean, I still have needs that are yet to be met, and some goals that I'm yet to achieve, but it's where I used to be. And I just back and I look this struggling, and all I can say is, thank you. So if God had shown me what He wanted back then, like, okay, bring a special place for you, you're going to be fine, I'm sure that my gratitude level would have not been, as what it is right now. So, there'll be somebody out there that's going through a tough time, wondering if, is this what's happening? Like, I was there. I read a tweet, and the person was like, I think it was Solomon Bucci, that everything I prayed for in the past, I have it now, which reinforces my faith. I'm just paraphrasing, which reinforces my faith that what the things that I'm praying for right now, that God is going to come through. So, and I'm sure that there are going to be diverse people listening on this call, Christian, Muslim, atheist, whatever you believe in. I just want you to keep believing that everything is going to turn out fine somehow in the end, as long as you still have life. Cliche though, but there is hope. So this is, my story. Basically, like, actually the shortened version. If I want to start from you, we're not going to this to like the shortened version. So if you want a longer version, just book with my PA. I'm going to employ one for you people so you can hear. Yeah, I don't have any PA, don't mind me. Yeah.
Nkem, thank you so much. I was just listening to you throughout, and wow, like I had no idea, right, that you were going through something like this. And honestly, I am sorry that you actually had to go through this. It's not an experience that, we pray anybody goes through. Depression, it's overwhelming, and I feel it's a very dark time. And I can relate when you said you just look at random stuff, something that's even funny, and then you just start crying. I can definitely relate with that. And I just want to, I know you said, the church did not reach out to you and you felt neglected at that point. And, but did you ever maybe try to tell anybody, like a friend, any friend at all? It mustn't be from the church. Have you ever tried to share this with anybody? Just pour out your heart and see how you feel.
Yeah, I think I did. I reached out to someone, but I can't explicitly say who I did. But I know I talked to someone, and I don't think I really got much. It was like I was just talking to myself. So, or
Wow.
maybe I wasn't talking to get a feedback, or just probably throw it out there for anybody that cared to listen.
I
Yeah.
am really sorry. Yeah.
I'm past it. I'm past it now. Yeah.
I'm glad that you are. Your narration was very chronological and well detailed. But can you just describe where you are at this point in time as we are having this conversation? Like, where are you mentally and spiritually?
Okay. So let's start with mentally. Um okay, so my first experience with depression was that period I described for you. But then what happened was that I'm now familiar with the feeling. I'm now familiar with what it is. So now in my life, I'm at that point where I try to, you know, overlook certain things that could get to me. I'm not where I used to be. Okay, I'm not where I used to be last 2 years mentally. So now where I am, I'm a very, very overly sensitive person right now. So when somebody gives an eye contact, I read meaning into that eye contact. When somebody says something, I read meaning into what that person says. So I'm just trying to protect my mental space. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not there. I'm not perfect yet. So what I'm trying to do is build back my mental health to what it used to be and even better, because I don't want to go back to where I was. I find myself these days, I find myself losing weight at some thoughts. I find myself being sleepless. But then I'm trying to get myself to a point where I just control the things that I take in. I talk to myself, I pray, I talk to people about how I feel, and I get better. But then I find myself going back and, bringing myself back. So I think it's important that we are aware of where we are and how to rescue ourselves, because truly no one can rescue you except you do. Yeah, and with God by your side, because I pray, I talk to myself a lot. I think a lot these days, and I try to just control the thoughts that I think. It's very difficult because naturally I'm an overthinker. So I just try to control the thoughts that I have. I try to distract myself, coupled with the fact that I'm not a very outgoing person, or activities have been distracting me. So I just try to control the thoughts I think. I try to control the things I take in, and I just try to focus more on things that are positive. So that's where I'm mentally. And then
Spiritually.
spiritually. So okay, so I would say that I am loving where I am spiritually because I am a more inquisitive person. So I used to be that person that I'll sit in the congregation and take in what the pastor says and shout hallelujah. We are getting better. The chains have been broken. But no. So I'm at a point where I get to ask more questions and I'm getting answers from the questions that I ask. I've been studying a lot of people. People preach about the gospel. It's in quotes now. This gospel I said is in quotes because we've been fed a lot of things in the past that are false. Like I don't even want to count the number of, like, when I sit back and I realize that you've ingested a lot of nonsense. I get angry at myself, but then at the same time, because I feel like I've found the truth. I'm not there, but I've seen the light. I've seen the I don't feel like I'm sounding very I found the truth about what I'm supposed to be, feeding myself on. Let's just say I found the right nutrients, and that is what at the moment I'm trying to, nibble on here and there, So that's why I'm spiritually. I'm at that point where I just question a lot of things. I don't just take in anything I hear, I see. And it has to be based on a certain kind of pattern, because people go out there teaching about themselves, teaching about their church, teaching about what is not even necessary, neglecting the most important thing, which is the gospel, and that gospel is Jesus. People don't talk about Jesus. People talk about why you should pay your tithe and how your tithe is going to make you paying. I pay my tithe too. I'm not against paying tithe. I pay my tithe. But I've come to understand that if you pay your tithe, if you don't pay your tithe, God loves you regardless. that if before I didn't pay my tithe, hey, I'm going to die, God is going to send fire and brimstone to consume me.
Wow.
No. To think that I actually sat down thinking, this person sold his car, why God blessed him. No, like that is totally wrong. God is going to bless you regardless of. I mean, I'm not negating. No, don't get me wrong on this call. I'm not negating sacrificial giving, but to base your salvation on doing things and giving and neglecting the main focus, which is Jesus Christ and having faith in Him, is where I have a problem with. Because people have focused too much on what we should do, how we should do it. Like, how much can you do exactly? 10 ways to gain favor with God. 10 ways. I remember a message. 10 ways to fly first class in heavenly first class. So number 1, you have to come to church. Number 2, you have to pay your tithe. Like, how much can you actually do? How much? That's I'm talking with so much passion. Like, that's
Yeah.
where I am. That's where
Yeah.
I am
Oh
right
no.
now.
That is actually it's very good.
Yeah.
Like you said, you don't just take anything hook, line, and sinker anymore.
Yeah.
You filter, and you are now more focused on, okay, your personal relationship with
Yeah.
God,
Right.
right? As opposed to, okay, the church gymnastics, from what you've described, I get
Yeah.
it. When you were, going through this, and you were having all those doubts about whether God really loved you and why He allowed all these things happen to you, did you ever just stop going to church, or you were still going Sunday to Sunday? And then did you ever at any point say, you know what, I'm done with church, I'm not going anymore, since this is how it's happening? Did you ever do that?
No, I didn't stop going to church. I still went to church because I needed to find answers to what was happening. I didn't know where to get my answers from. So I kept going to church and listening to everything I could take in, and just I kept going to church. I mean, I didn't know where else to get my answers from apart from, God. So I thought the church would help me. So I kept going to church. And the church helped in a way. Yeah. I got encouragement from the worship sessions, reminding you that God is still there. And so I kept going to church.
I thank God for you, honestly. First of all, it's not easy sharing this because you've been so detailed, and I'm very confident that there's nobody that will listen to this that has gone through it that will not take out something, that will not take out some sort of hope from this experience that you've shared, right? Because honestly, it's amazing. It's amazing how we think that, okay, everything is going well, and then all of a sudden things are just left, right, and center. You're not asking, why me? It's really amazing. If you ever find yourself in this kind of situation, as you've listened to the story, I hope that you find comfort, right? That everything will be fine after all. Everybody's a work in progress. And
True.
you might not be like that quote you from Bucci that you from Twitter. Yeah, everything will be all right finally, right? Everybody is a work in progress. You will get there. You'll pull through. And Nkem, I'm going to say that you will also pull through. You are getting there already. Like you said, you are not yet, mentally, but I'm very sure that this year will be a fantastic year for you. This is actually a blessing. It's a testimony, right? And testimonies are meant to bless the person sharing it, and the person listening is blessing both. And I'm sure that, I don't want to say, oh, okay, maybe your situation was caused by the devil or anything. No, it's not that. It's just sometimes some things that maybe it's even testing your faith. Yeah, maybe it's even testing your faith. But I love that you've shared it today. I really you don't get people sharing this kind of things and being as honest as you have been, honestly, especially church people. I'm not attacking church people, but I know that a lot of people hide under the guise of, oh, I don't want it to be like, I'm doubting or anything, but it's like a testimony. So when we are open about things like this, I'm sure maybe somebody that is even a believer that will listen to this will actually get a lot out of it and be like, oh wow, this is somebody I relate with. So Nkem, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing.
I'm happy
Did you
that
feel-
I'm happy I shared. I'm happy that someone is going to learn from this. So I wish
Thank you
well.
so much. What do you think, right? You said a lot of people, did not really check on you. What did you think they would have done differently that would have made you feel better at that point?
Okay, so this is someone that just lost her job. So what I was expecting was, hi Nkem, how are you? Since you quit from Uru, how have you been? How have you been holding up? Have you found something better? Are you looking out? Please let me know how I can help. Let me know if there's something you need and you think I can provide it. That simple checkup. Or hey, how are you doing? How is everything? I hope you're holding up. Because some people actually knew the story back then. So just a simple, hi, how are you? Do you want to talk? Hey, how are you? Have you eaten? Hey, how are you? Do you want me to help you search? Do you want me to help you maybe write a cover letter? Or I could refer someone that could, structure your CV in such a way that it would seem more just basic checkup, really. Just, basic checkup. Yeah, do you have money? Even if I say yes, I have money, that I don't have a constant source of income. Maybe simple, send me account number. Can cure a headache I was having. Could have cured a headache I was having.
Yeah.
So do you get? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny that it's actually the very simple things that would have gone a long way. Like it's the small things. Just how are you doing? Are you can you talk or can we talk? Wow, like
So what I do now, what I do now is I look out for people in the situation as I was. I look out for them. What's up? Okay, I remember there was a time somebody asked me. I remember my friend. She didn't have a job then. She asked me for money. I sent her more than what she asked, and I told her, don't pay me back because I know that you're not anything. Don't pay me back. So what I did is I tried to look out for people that were like me. You're looking for a job. Okay, I'm going to help you look. I saw an application. I'm going to send you the link. That's what I do these days. I'm going to send you the link, or you just look out for people so that they don't go through what I went through. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
And thank you, because your experience that you just shared is also your way of looking out for people so they don't go through the same thing you did. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's the simple things, the very little things. But this is not simple. Sharing your story is definitely not simple. It's a huge deal. And I thank you. I'm privileged that you came on this platform to share it. Thank you so much. And I think I've gotten a lot from our conversation. Personally, I would definitely try my best to also look out for people, because now that you've mentioned it, it's just the simple things, the how are you, it's really just the simple things, not the surface how are you, the how far, that kind of thing. But really wanting to know how somebody is doing. Thank you for sharing this, because right now I've learned a lot, and I'm going to improve myself, because I feel a lot of people are going through stuff. A lot of people that you don't even know.
Social media, I'm telling you, a lot of people.
And you feel, everything is okay, but deep inside they just want an outlet. And I find that what most people need, you don't even have to offer any other thing. Just your ears is enough.
Yeah. True.
Just let them pour out their heart. You don't even have to say I have a solution or something. I feel talking about it also helps. So thank you so much, Nkem, for in fact, thank you, because from this your story, I am going to improve myself and be a better person. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing. So, Nkem, do you
Thank
have
you too.
anywhere maybe we want to, reach out to you on social media or, any other platform, maybe of your phone number, if you don't mind? So people can maybe talk to you because, maybe they really want to really have just have that conversation with you themselves. So do you mind?
Yeah.
Where can we
Yeah.
reach you?
I don't mind. So I think I would love WhatsApp. WhatsApp is more personal. So if someone would want to have that personal conversation with me, my phone number is 0809. Or would you want to drop it
Oh yeah.
later?
Oh yeah,
Or should
sure.
I drop it on the call?
No, don't worry. Don't worry. I'll put that in the description. Yeah, when the
Okay,
podcast,
okay.
I'll put that in the description. I don't know how I'm going to express my gratitude, honestly. Honestly. Oh, okay. You are in Lagos, right? You are in Lagos, and I'm in Lagos
Yeah.
right now. So maybe
Come
we
and
should
take
meet up
me
one
out.
of these days.
Yeah.
We should.
That'd
I
be
didn't
really
even
nice.
I actually did not know that you were in Lagos. I know the last time I
Yeah.
asked you, it was yeah,
I
I'm
know
not
you
sure you really
answered that.
replied, but
I didn't reply. Because I
yeah.
was like, okay, if I reply to her, she's not going to feel bad at being in Lagos and I didn't tell her. So I just left praying that you one
Yeah,
day.
no, it's fine. It's fine. But definitely we should meet up one of these days. So I'll talk
Yeah,
to
sure.
you. I'll talk to you about that. We'll talk later. So thank you so
Right.
much. Mwah, a million kisses, Nkem. Thank you for coming to do
Accepted.
this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh
you
my god.
too.
I feel like giving you a virtual hug right now. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank
I
you.
really do appreciate this. Thank you. And guys,
Yeah.
please help me and thank Nkem because this is huge, right? What she has just done is very huge. It's sacrificial, letting out your personal life so people can learn from it, so people can be comforted by it. It's really huge. So please help me and thank her. And you can also support. A way to thank her is by sharing this podcast, right? Please share because you don't know who might need it, who might listen to it and get comforted or get inspired or just get that shared experience vibe, right? It's not even vibe, it's just a connection. So please do share as much as possible, and please you can also support this podcast on Shukran, Anchor, or Patreon. I'll leave everything, the links in the description. Thank you so much for listening. I do hope that you join me for the next episode of the Pot of Beans podcast. This life na pot of beans. And please be good, right? Check on people. You don't really know what people are going through. People are going through a lot, which is why I'm actually doing this series, because I discovered that a lot of people just be like they're all right, but no, definitely deep inside they're not really okay. So yeah. Okay, I do hope you have a wonderful day, Nkem. Thank you so much. A million kisses to you. You're an awesome person. You are super, super duper awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Still have a wonderful
Bye,
night.
guys.